coaching them and really inspiring these guys. I wonder if there's, like you said last year, Professor, something's going on in that locker room. I wonder if something still is going on in that locker room where these guys are not fully buying in to what's being presented to them by this administration. That's all I'm saying. Okay? All right, guys. The Saints go up to the Big Apple to play Eli Manning and Victor Cruz and OBJ. What is your prognostication of the iteration of the Who Dat Nation? How do you feel about this game, Rim?
Not very good.
Not very good.
Going against those, right, as you said, the two outstanding wide receivers against defense whose secondary is battered up and kind of just fell apart in their last game, last quarter of their game. They're doing in the teams after a big victory against their most hated rival. I see too much momentum in New York right now for our team to overcome. I don't.
Okay. What about you, Frank?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really, really tough going on the road and going up against that veteran quarterback and wide receivers. I could see it being a high-scoring game, and I see it the other way around with the Saints trying to come from behind. I don't expect to see a lot of balance. You know, I would play maybe say 60-40 pass to run, but I could see the score being something like 37-31 New York.
Okay. What about you, Deuce?
Well, believe it or not, I'm actually more optimistic about this game than I was the Raiders game. And let me say why. Oakland is a complete team. They're young. They're who I have winning the AFC West. They're strong defensively. They've got every level of offense, whereas New York is not that. New York is not strong defensively. And there's only two players on that entire New York team that scare me, and that's Odell Beckham and Victor Cruz. New York really doesn't have a run game. Nobody's going to convince me that Shane Vereen and Rashad Jennings are a scary run game. And Eli has always been interception prone. I mean, the guy's thrown 25 or more interceptions twice in his career and over 20 interceptions 3 or 4 times, if I remember right. The only thing that we have to worry about is the fact that it's an away game. But honestly, if we're doing that argument, the Saints haven't exactly had dome field advantage for about 3 years.
4 years.
Yeah. So
yeah.
In terms of team versus team, I think we have a better shot of beating the Giants than we did Oakland. And in a lot of ways, I was surprised with how well we did against Oakland because I didn't have it being that close. Now, I only had it a slightly wider spread. Everybody remembers last week on the same show, I predicted Oakland to win. And
yes,
we
you
scored
did.
more points than I thought we would. But I think New York is a weaker team. I think we can take advantage of that, and I think we can beat them. We just have to milk the clock when we actually have a lead and not build on it in 30 seconds.
Okay, good. Professor?
The Saints have won their last 2 last 2 road games at the end of the season against Tampa and Atlanta, and then they beat Indianapolis also. They are actually playing better on the road than they are at home in a lot of ways. This is an interesting game, a very interesting game, and my gut feeling is that the Saints are going to win this game. I don't know why. It's just I'm kind of like Duke. My gut feeling. I didn't get a chance to watch the Dallas Giants game all the way because we was taping the show, but they've got to find a way to get some help to cover Odell and Victor Cruz. I think Drew Brees, I told Frank this privately, I think Drew Brees is going to light up everybody this year. Being the senior statesman he is at 37 and playing with these young guys, Drew is just smarter than these young guys, he and Tom Brady. So I look for the Saints offense to move. The question is, will this game come down to this field goal kicker again? And I do not, right now, I do not feel comfortable with this young man. Strong foot, I do not feel comfortable with him. And if this game is close, Will he be able to kick in those weather conditions? The formula for the Saints, as you always take out, turnovers. If they lose that battle, they're going to lose. If they keep leaving off all these points, 10 to 14 points, and cannot score in the red zone at least 75% of the time, they're going to lose. Those are the formulas, but I have a gut feeling that some kind of way the Saints surprise and win this game.
Okay. Sounds good. My thoughts are, I think the Saints can be able to take advantage of that weak offensive line that the Giants do have, and we may see a couple of sacks on Eli. But since I believe in the past 6 years, Drew Brees is number 1, and Eli was number 2, and Payton was number 3 as the least sacked guys in the National Football League. So I tell you what, if we are able to put some pressure on Eli and, have him to make some mistakes, I think we could be able to do well. Now, Vereen and Jennings last week, they did average 4.7 yards per carry. They did put a little pressure on that defense of the Cowboys. Hopefully, our guys up front can be a little bit more stout. And please, Nick Fairley, please stop overrunning plays. Please. I think he overcommits too often, and anyway, that's all I have to say, guys.
And Kyle, also the Saints, since I think it is 02, the Saints have only lost to the Giants. They lost the year after
one time, right?
Katrina, the year of Katrina, and then they lost. I think it was in 2012 in a high-scoring affair. But for most of this century, the 21st century, the Saints have owned the Giants. So that's another thing. They have played very well up against the Giants, and they have beaten them, I think, 4 out of the last 5 meetings. So that's another factor. Doesn't mean anything, but for some reason they have, on the road and at home, they have played pretty well against the Giants.
Okay. All right, good. All right, guys, any last thoughts? Comments?
I'll just say,
Doggy got something to say. Hold on, the dog has something to say. Deuce, your dog want to say something?
Nah.
I'll say that for me is that the Saints still have an opportunity to get their season on track with these next 3 games. They play on Monday night, the following Monday night against the Falcons in San Diego. If you want to get your season back on track and end this first quarter, with a chance to be 3-1, you have to simply win this game to get some momentum. They've got to stop this 5-game losing streak, if you count preseason and now, because that has an effect on these young players when you start having a losing spirit.
Yep. The weather should be around 82 degrees up there. They may have some showers in New York on Sunday, but pretty much it should be a pretty decent game weather-wise for the Saints-Giants contest. All right, guys, last thing. Look, quick. Frank, what's the score? What's the score going to be?
Well, I said a few minutes ago, I see it as a high-scoring game. I'm going to go stick to my original thought, 37-31 Giants.
Okay, Rev.
I'm going to go a little bit lower scoring just because it's going to be outside, so I'll say 27-24 New Orleans.
Okay. Remy.
35-32 New York.
Okay. Professor.
30-28, Lutz comes through for a field goal winning kick.
Interesting. And I got it.
Derek, make sure you dream about that.
Yeah. Professor is prophetic, man. Everything he said about that wide left on Lutz,
exactly,
it came to pass, man. So we're going to watch your dreams. We're going to listen to you on Friday night on the Professor Speaks, man. I got the Saints winning the game 33-28. So I think our boys are going to do pretty good. All right. Do not forget, tomorrow night, Rick Gailey from the coach's office will be on at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on Friday night. I forgot. Friday night we will not have Professor Speaks, right?
Yeah, we're just gonna have a tape show. The tape show will be put up on the website, but it will not be live. We'll have a tape show.
Okay. All right, guys. Hey, appreciate you guys. Don't forget next week after the game as well, Tuesday nights, Deuce and Brian be enemy. You guys are going to have the Who Dat Confessional, and we'll be back on our regular time on next Wednesday at 8 o'clock p.m. This is Kyle T. Mosley with the Saints News Radio crew. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, Remy. Thank you, Diva. And thank you, Professor, for being on tonight. Who Dat Nation, stay tuned. We're going to have also, we may have a halftime report on Sunday to give you guys an update, as well as we may have a recap of what happened in the Saints-Giants game. This is Kyle T. Mosley of Saints News and Saints News Radio. Thank you, and good night. Who Dat?
Who dat, everybody?
And